Hey everybody, I'm Josh Gammon.
I'm Andrew
I'm
Nichols.
Garrett. Oh,
And I'm
Yes!
Dave, and I'm David Brock.
And this is So Many Sequels, and we screwed up the intro to the final show of the year. Beautiful. It couldn't have been done better.
Nope,
One could say it was planned even.
that's
It
right.
wasn't. Hey, you got a letterbox hat, David.
Yeah, you like it?
I do. That's really cool.
Got it for
nice.
Christmas.
That's
Aw.
nice. I
Yeah,
want
the
a
gift-
letterbox hat.
A gift from myself.
What? Hey, gifts from
Those are sometimes those
you
are the
know,
best gifts.
the older you get, you realize a lot of it is just giving gifts to yourself. And then, you still buy gifts for others, but the stuff you get, a lot of it comes from you.
I know
which
what
is
I want,
Yeah, you know what you want better than most people.
and I know how much it costs. So but this was
Yeah.
like I just saw this. I think Letterboxd has tweeted out that they had some merchandise. So I was like, oh, I'll look into that, and it was like 2 shirts and a hat, and I was like, well, I always wear hats on the show, so I'll wear a hat.
Yeah. Nice. Well, what a great opportunity to plug Letterboxd. You can
Yes.
find our show there at So Many Sequels pod,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And you can find all of us individually there as well. Just search around. But like I said, this is the last show of the year. We're going to have kind of a fun, lightly structured free-for-all in a way, where we're going to talk about 2020 in film. We're going to go through some of our surprises, whether that be some like really good movies we didn't expect or really bad movies we didn't expect, or maybe even like something that happened in the world of movies we didn't expect. There's a lot of surprises there. We'll talk about some of the worst movies we saw, some of the best movies we saw, and we will go over kind of briefly our most anticipated movies of the year for this year.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of went to the dump.
Yeah, they didn't quite make it.
Much to our dismay. A lot of the movies we were anticipating didn't come out, but
Yeah.
a surprising amount of them did, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of those too. So that is everything we're going to cover on the show today. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody to find us on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So Many Sequels. Search for us on all of those and follow us. Like the show, share our stuff. We've been posting more videos lately. Excited about that. And I'm sure you'll be seeing more of those as we start our next season. We're going to take a little hiatus after this, and we'll be back for season 4, and we'll have more videos and stuff like that to share. So find us there, and of course, follow the show on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, or wherever else you get podcasts.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started by talking about some of our surprises. What movies have come out that we thought were like surprisingly good, surprisingly bad, or maybe just, I don't know. I'm sure there are other ways they could have been surprising. But does anyone have anything right off the bat that they'd like to talk about surprises for the year?
I have one.
Okay, David, you go first.
I don't know if this is going to be anybody's top 5, but I wanted to mention Palm Springs, starring Adam Sandler, or excuse me, Andy Samberg, and oh shoot, I always forget her name. The mother, Kristen Miliani. That's
yes.
it. Yeah, what a fun twist on the I don't know what to call it, the Groundhog Day trope.
Time travel-y kind of.
Yeah, and a lot of fun. Totally I heard nothing about the movie until like 2 weeks before it came out, and then like all of a sudden, I just started seeing all my friends reviewing it, you guys included, and I was like, well, I guess I got to check this out. Ton of fun. It didn't make my top 5 this year, but yeah, what a fun surprise.
I would agree. I think that this is a good example. Everybody always is like, let's remake this movie. Why don't let's make a new version of this? And people talk about Groundhog Day all the time. People want a new Groundhog Day. Let's make new Groundhog Day. This is a good example of how you can take Groundhog Day but modernize it, because now I don't want a new Groundhog Day because I have Palm Springs. That's the way that I look at this movie. That is a good creative way of taking something that is a familiar thing that people enjoy and modernizing it with a new twist. It shows creative and shows homage and all that stuff. So I think it's a really good example of what more people should try to do, rather than just remake new version of an old thing that people enjoy.
Yeah, the most creative version of the time loop concept since Happy Death Day. Just
Agreed.
totally for it.
Happy Death Day you can find on our show. We reviewed the series last year, I think.
Plug
so
number one.
look that up. Yeah.
Plug
Any other
count down on the
surprises
bottom.
from the peanut gallery here? And I will also say, yes, I agree with everything about Palm Springs. It didn't make my top 5, but it barely snuck in at number 10 from my top 10. But we won't go into all that.
Oh yeah. Mine's in the 7th spot.
We got a new release from Netflix this year that I wasn't prepared for, called Babysitter Killer Queen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Babysitter 2.
So Babysitter is a Halloween type movie on Netflix that came out several years ago. And it was a lot of fun. It's tropey, it's silly, it's goofy, but it is a good movie. It's very fun. It's kind of like a fun horror movie. They made a sequel to it, and it seemed like it was a surprise to me. And I didn't know what to expect from it, and I thought it was really, really good. It carried a lot over. It was campy. It was goofy. There's a entire like fantasy breakdown to oh my goodness, I don't even remember the name of the song, but it's the dance song that Carlton and Will Smith do in that episode of The Fresh Prince.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't remember the name of that song, but it's just ridiculous. But it is still pretty scary in a horror type way. It was just a good sequel that I wasn't expecting this year.
Tonto Jump On It song.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
that's
it.
the one.
I don't know the word.
So I have a couple movies that are surprisingly, well, no. One is surprisingly bad, and another one is surprising that it exists. The first one is a movie that was also just recently released on Netflix, but is not a Netflix film, called Ava. This one is real fresh on my mind. Just watched it a few days ago. Ava stars Jessica Chastain, John Malkovich, Gina Davis, Colin Farrell, and Common. All actors that I think, I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but are generally thought well of. Even Common, I think people like him a lot.
I agree.
It was just a really terrible movie. It was as generic as it could be in terms of plotting, and just boring. The performances were pretty phoned in, which I thought was surprising. You know, a lot of times good actors can save a bad movie. That was not the case this time. And it had some real bad special effects. Just really surprisingly bad considering the actors involved. And then my other surprise is a movie called Fat Man, which I can't believe exists, but totally expected it to be as bad as it was. It stars Mel Gibson as Santa Claus and Walton Goggins as a man who, as a young boy, never got what he wanted for Christmas. So now that he's grown, he is spending his life attempting to hunt down and kill Santa for not giving him good presents.
Perfect.
Fascinating.
It was
Like any
not.
rational person would.
Yeah, it was not good, but I can't believe it exists, and that's why it's a surprise.
That sounds bad.
It was not great. It was
Oh my
weirdly
gosh.
watchable though because of how weird it is.
Yeah.
But it's like you'd only watch it once.
Yeah.
You just got to see what happens. Andrew, you got any surprises?
Palm Springs really surprised me with really how good it was. So yeah, Palm Springs was definitely the surprise of the year. I will say that I was surprised at how good The Lovebirds was.
I would agree with that.
The Lovebirds was very, very good. Was there anything that was surprisingly bad? We'll get to that later.
Do it now, unless it's in your bottom.
It's in my bottom.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. We'll wait then.
I do want to mention one other offhand. I want to mention one other movie. Not necessarily surprised that it was nothing to do with its quality. Excuse me. Just the fact that it managed to finally come out in possibly the worst case scenario was New Mutants.
Yeah.
Finally comes out to theaters near you. And man, what terrible timing.
I thought about mentioning the New Mutants too, because it's two factors that's surprising to me. One, it's surprising that it came out at all. especially in theaters. But 2, to be completely honest, I was surprised it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Fair.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah. It's not good.
No.
But I thought it would be so much worse, and it's not in my bottom of the year at all.
No, it's middling. It's kind of like, it was actually the first movie that I got to go back to a theater to see. Me and my wife, we saw that, and the next week we got to see Tenet, and then basically the theaters were done again.
Yeah.
But yeah, New Mutants, it's been delayed, and I remember after I saw it, I was looking up the history of it again, just look at it and be like, man, this movie was supposed to come out in like 2018, 2017. They started writing it like when Game of Thrones was hot.
Yeah, it was supposed to be peak girl's name from Game of Thrones, who I can't remember.
Maisie
Williams. Maisie Williams.
Yeah.
That was like her peak fame of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So fascinating that finally managed to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going through my list here, and I don't have a lot of others that surprise me. They kind of hit or missed where I thought they might. Anyone else?
I guess I have one more. I can let Garrett go though.
No, I'm going through it. Go for it, David.
So this is more what I would probably call the honorable mentions. It's just outside of my top 10, but
okay.
Animated film that became a Netflix exclusive this year, Over the Moon, which was directed by a former Disney animator, and it's his first feature film, and it's about a little girl who thinks that if she can meet the goddess of the moon, that somehow she'll be able to get her mother back or something like that. And I'm not remembering all the details really well, but it came out around June, I want to say, or July. And it's a really nice film. It's, the animation is great. It's got some different issues about it, but I would recommend it recommend looking into it, especially if you got younger kids. I think it'll entertain them fairly well.
Yeah,
that's it.
Good.
I think, and I don't know if we want to have this conversation now or later, but I think if we're talking about surprises, I would throw Wonder Woman into that category.
Yeah, maybe.
Is Wonder Woman in anyone's top 5 or bottom 5?
Not in my top or bottom.
No.
Then I guess.
Oh, Andrew.
Is it in your bottom 5?
Really, Andrew?
Oh, jeez.
We'll have to look into that.
Then we'll save it. But
we'll get to Wonder Woman later.
I will file Wonder Woman in a surprise category for me.
I agree on the same basis.
So
I agree, but I think for different reasons. But
maybe
we'll get it, because I have problems with the movie too. But my problems are very different than all the problems everybody else came away complaining about. So that's the thing I found the most interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Says, yeah. All right.
All right. Where are we going now? Top 5 or bottom 5? Where are we headed first?
Oh boy.
Gotta get the bottom out.
I guess so. Let's get the bottom. Let's talk about the bottom 5 movies.
People.
All right. Who's up first?
I'll go first.
All right.
So sorry, I had to count for a second. Okay. I'm just gonna read my list.
How many movies you got total?
Well, total?
Yeah.
64.
Wow.
One movie.
You're one. What are you? 63?
Yeah.
Hey, I had a lot of time to stream.
You watched Fat Man, didn't you? I didn't
it was Fat Man pushed me over.
Yeah.
I'll just read the list and we'll go from there. So, Ava. To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You, which is a Netflix sequel.
That one landed on the bottom 5 and stayed there, didn't it?
Yeah.
That came out earlier this year.
The Wrong Missy, another Netflix movie from David Spade and Lauren Lapkus. The Kissing Booth 2, another Netflix original movie. Netflix kind of rules my bottom 5. And by kind of, I mean 100% completely rules it. And then, wait, did I do the right order? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. And then my worst movie of the year is Desperados.
Desperado.
Desperados, a movie starring who is in this movie? I can't even remember.
Nassim
Pedrad, Anna Camp, Lamorne Morris, Robbie Amell, Heather Graham.
Oh, these people are so funny.
It's super bad.
It was
just
super
a really
bad.
bad movie. It's not even worth talking about.
No, not really. Like, just don't go watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of those.
Well, that's the risk I take when I watch Netflix original movies. So every now and then you get a shining star, and most of the time you get poop.
Yeah. See, you have that. You guys, I think that's the problem. Is you guys have that thing where you look at it and you go, "This movie looks bad, but I'm gonna watch it anyway." And a lot of times, I often go, I'm only gonna have so much time to watch these movies. I'm only gonna be able to see half of the movies that these guys see. I might as well make them all the good ones.
Yeah, well, I have nothing else to do.
No.
Like, I could have watched The Wrong Missy, and I didn't.
You should.
And you know what? You're better off for it. We're not better. We're worse.
We willingly chose to watch that movie.
That one was like really willingly chose. Like, that was no question was raised about that one.
No.
David Spade movie? We'll try it. Andrew is up next.
Andrew, go.
In my clockwise order.
So my worst movies.
Yep. Start with 5.
Start on 5.
Yeah. Go with don't start with your very, very worst. Count 5 up.
Okay. Well, okay. So there's one movie that I know that I've reviewed and I can't remember, but we watched it. We watched it like back in September, and it was a Netflix film. And I just remember walking away from that movie and I hated it.
Do you remember anything about it?
Great.
Yeah,
story.
it had a great cast. It had Tom Holland. It had
The Devil All the Time.
The Devil All the Time.
Devil All the Time.
Literally did a podcast over that one, boy.
Did not like it.
That's one of your worst of the year, though?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, did not like it. So The Devil All the Time is my number 5.
Okay.
Number 4 is Hubie Halloween. And
really?
Hubie Halloween.
Oh boy.
is a movie that, like, I mean, it's really, really dumb, and it's just kind of it's just dumb fun, but at the same time, it got really boring really quick. It was just like the same old Adam Sandler shtick. And I love Adam Sandler, but I'm like, after a while, I just found this one just really, really boring. Okay. Number 3 is Bad Boys for Life.
Okay.
Really? You're
one of the highest grossing movies of the year.
You're the one who always brings up Bad Boys for Life.
He hasn't liked it from the jump, though, to be fair. I went and listened to our mid-year review, and Andrew hated it then, too, and he was the only one, because that's, to recap, the highest-rated Bad Boys movie. But to Andrew's credit, he has hated it from the jump.
Yeah.
What's ironic, though, is that is the highest-grossing movie of this year.
Yeah.
Domestically, yes.
Yeah.
And pretty well reviewed.
I did not like it.
That's okay.
I did not like it.
This list is just amazing me.
Yeah.
It's going to get crazier, because I know.
Get ready.
I feel like I know.
I can't believe you thought Bad Boys for Life was worse than Hubie Halloween.
And I know at least this man's rating system makes no sense.
I know, and I know at least one more you're going to say, and I can't believe that either.
Yeah. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Number 2.
My number 2 is it's a Netflix movie called Project Power.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
with Jamie Foxx.
It starred Jamie Foxx. It got boring, and I just didn't like it. Like, after a while, like the only thing that really was going for it was the effects. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of Netflix movies are like that.
Yeah, like it's like they pour their money in effects, but not in quality of story or acting.
Well, hit us with the big one then.
Yeah, number 1 is Wonder Woman 84. Talk about.
Wow.
I was very, very let down. I was very bored. I didn't get anything from this movie at all. I thought it excelled nothing within the universe of Wonder Woman. I feel like we deserve a better movie with Wonder Woman because I think she deserves a better story. And I want to say about from 30 minutes on, I had absolutely no idea what the hell I was watching.
Wow.
And those are my top 5 worst movies of the year.
Let's go
Andrew,
ahead and talk about Wonder Woman now.
Well, hold on.
We had a
a
couple things in common in our bottom 5, Andrew, but we part ways on the Wonder
whether
Woman
or not
thing.
Andrew, do you rank yours based on like stars or just like your disappointment in them? Because it sounds like, and like whatever it is, I'm just curious how like what is, because we've asked you this before. What goes into your rating system? Help us understand so we can have that like quick discussion, and then we'll get to the Wonder Woman thing, because I think that your rating system needs to be explained at this point.
Okay. 5 stars is like great quality work. It's like masterpiece. 4 stars is extremely good, would watch again. 3 stars, okay, probably wouldn't give it another shot. 2 stars, did not like at all. Would not recommend. 1 star, totally hated it.
Okay. And all of those, what were all those 1 star? What was the highest? What was your rankings for those as you went?
Hold on a minute. None of these got past 2.5.
Okay. Okay. That fits with the narrative.
So
none of these got past 2.5. Hubie Halloween probably has the lowest.
And yet,
and yet.
But let's talk about Wonder Woman. Let's talk about it.
Hold on. Here's the thing, is that Hubie Halloween is at least sort of watchable.
no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So,
do you want to talk about Wonder Woman now, or do you want to keep going?
No, let's go for it.
Yeah, because it's not going to come up on any of the rest of our lists.
No.
Okay.
And try not to make this a Wonder Woman episode, I will say to everyone.
No.
Because we could have done that, but we didn't.
Everybody gets 2 minutes.
I will start by saying there's a lot of what Andrew said that I agree with. There's some that I agree with maybe at a less strong level. Yeah. I thought it was disappointing. Very. I also thought probably about half an hour in, it starts to get ludicrous a bit. I thought the story was very weak and didn't make a lot of sense. I thought that Pedro Pascal did an excellent job at playing a character that I really never want to see again because he was so bad at being a villain and just incredibly annoying. I thought Kristen Wiig was also good at playing a villain that didn't need to exist because she didn't serve much purpose in the film. And I thought that it would be great if Wonder Woman had more to do in her own movie, but she didn't. And the effects were not what I come to expect from a Warner Brothers film, especially one that was meant for theaters. And it was at least 30 to 40 minutes too long.
Yep.
And that's my Wonder Woman in a nutshell.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Too long. And it suffers from what a lot of movies a lot of superhero movies try to cram too much going into it. You have a storyline with a romantic storyline. You have a substance level villain. You have a massive level villain, all trying to get equal amount of time. And unfortunately, all their stories suffered. The best way that I've described it is I really liked Wonder Woman until I didn't. It wasn't the best, and I was but I was still enjoying myself. And then about halfway, maybe earlier, I found myself not enjoying myself anymore. The fun had worn off, and the story wasn't strong. The villains weren't strong. The ending didn't make sense. It was all over the place, and it was unfortunate. So, yeah, it was a big disappointment.
Andrew, do you got anything else to say?
Yeah, I do. I do.
He better. It's his least favorite.
I want to kind of piggyback off that a little bit whenever it comes to the length. Yeah, the length was atrocious. 2.5 hours for this. 2.5 hours for this was very long, and it got just repetitive. Not repetitive. That's not the word I'm looking for. It just wasn't good. Like there was no substance to it. It was like it was adding nothing to it. And the other thing is, I want to say is that this movie was advertised horribly because Kristen Wiig, what is her character's name in the movie?
Barbara.
I forgot.
Barbara.
Okay, Barbara. In the trailers, it's advertised that Barbara is like the main villain, and she's kind of not. Like, she is not the main villain. What?
I said I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I think that's, from what I remember of the trailers too, I hardly remember Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even think I knew Pedro was in it based on the trailer.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, and like Pedro Pascal is the main villain of the movie, and it really sells it very wrong. And that's kind of what you're going on. It's like, ooh, we're actually going to get like maybe a star-making turn. Maybe something different from Kristen Wiig. And it turns out that Kristen Wiig is maybe in it, I don't know, maybe like a quarter of the movie?
No, you're dead wrong on that.
Well, so that's incorrect.
She's a villain for maybe that much.
Yeah.
She's all through it, though.
She is all through it.
But
am I up?
That's my 2 cents.
Okay. So I gave this movie 3.5 stars. I think it was better than a lot of other DCEU movies I've seen. It's better than Suicide Squad. It's better than Justice League. It's better than, in my opinion, Batman vs. Superman. I thought that Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig both give really good performances. Pedro Pascal playing a character who's essentially a force of nature in this movie that's just deteriorating over the course of the film, just like falling apart under the weight of all this power. I thought they did a really excellent job with that. I thought Kristen Wiig's slow evolution of nobody to supervillain was really interesting. I feel like this movie really missed a bit of a bar by ending that story there, because, spoiler alert, it's not going to go beyond this, it doesn't seem. And I thought that the concept, the idea of this, mystical item that gives you what you wish for, but takes from you what you care about most, was a really interesting idea. The problems that I had was outside of the little opening intro with them doing the Olympics in Amazonia, and the little opening mantra, the little opening number that I actually really liked, with her going around and saving people. The movie goes about an hour and 10 minutes without any action, without any sort of superheroic stuff. It's just talking and exposition and talking and moving around and talking, and just a lot of that kind of thing. And it's a long time before you get anything resembling superhero stuff like action. And it was long enough that I'm sitting in the theater and I noticed it. It was long enough that I said, boy, hasn't really been anything like exciting happen in a while. It's just all kind of like really dramatic stuff. And I think that's a bad sign for your action movie, is if people notice a lack of action. I think that if I were, because I honestly think that this is one of the few times I've seen two villains managed pretty well. The problem I had, the story I would get rid of, is the romantic subplot with Chris Pine. I like Chris Pine, great actor. I thought he did a fine job in this, but the way that story is introduced and used through the film just feels like an anchor to the more exciting things that are going on, which is watching Kristen Wiig completely transform and give a really good performance, I think, and watching Pedro Pascal completely deteriorate. They could have found a more interesting way to introduce Diana's wish. She could have just been hallucinating him the whole time or something like that. I thought it was a really weird way to introduce this wish of like, oh yeah, you get your boyfriend back, but he possesses a dude.
That was dumb.
It was strange. And it only contributed to, it added like another 45 minutes of the movie that didn't need to be there, was this whole subplot with them. I think that Gal Gadot does fine, but she doesn't stand out. This is a situation where the devil plays all the best notes, the bad guys get to have way more fun. They're way more interesting. But I don't think it was as bad as everybody says it is.
It was, but just to move on, I think that
it was.
You separate it, and I agree. Chris Pine doesn't. I don't want to. Again, just to move on. For me, I would like to see it separated. You can learn about the mystical thing, and have Pine come back, and then you see this friendship between Barbara and Diana deteriorate. Pedro Pascal is hiding around in the back, and then he sets up as a main villain later on down the line, and then you get his story. And I think I would have liked that better. And
I thought his story was
separated
fine.
it would have tightened it up.
It was fairly interesting to me. One of the problems that they had was they didn't introduce a main component. They didn't explain a main component of this stone until way deep in the movie, like an hour and 45 minutes into the movie. They reveal a very important detail about this item that they show you kind of it, but it's never explained until way too late. And by then you go, oh, I didn't realize it was even doing that.
Yeah, well, and the rules of the stone don't. They don't make sense because they contradict each other. Like there would be, especially at the end when everyone's wishing, there would be wishes that contradict each other everywhere, and that's not explained. Kristen Wiig, for some reason, gets 2 wishes when it's explicitly told that they can only get one.
She doesn't get 2 wishes.
She does get 2 wishes.
No, she's given stuff by him. There's a moment where you see him. I won't want to spoil the movie, but it's right in front of the screen. It happens. So
well, at the beginning she wished to be like Diana, and at the end
she doesn't wish for the second thing. He gives.
She wished to be an apex predator.
Yeah, but that's not her wish.
She wished. Oh, she said it was.
He turns around. There's a moment where he turns around because he says, "I'll take this from you. I'll take that from you." Okay, I'll spoil it here. I'll take this.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you watch, there's a moment where he turns around and he says, "Give her this. Give her that. Give her your this. Give her your that." And he's motioning towards Kristen Wiig's character, saying, so now he's not taking those things for himself, he's giving them to someone else. So it's not a wish being granted, a second wish being granted. It's him transferring what he's taking from people to her. Why it turns her into a cheetah doesn't really make a lick of sense. But no, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
I mean, you could say that.
My wife
says she renounced the first wish before she gets that one, but I don't know if that's the case.
Again, something that was also not explained.
Anyone else anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's a renouncement.
Okay.
Anyway,
it's a very divisive movie.
Yeah, it makes no sense. That sends us over to now, David. You can do your 5.
Yep.
Worst
all right.
movies.
You thought Andrew's was a hot take. Andrew and I will actually share.
Out the ass.
You and Andrew will actually share. Andrew and I will actually share one. So I only saw 30 movies this year, and it was a struggle to get there. But in my number 26 spot, so this is 5th from the bottom, Sonic the Hedgehog. I found this movie to be stupid. Sonic go fast. Sonic ride in truck for most of the movie.
Goes the truck.
Get on your feet, Sonic. You run faster than the truck. Why is Sonic in the real world? It doesn't make sense. Why is Sonic hanging out with James Marsden? I also don't get
the magic rings, man. They explained it all.
Magic rings.
Why? We don't need
it made
that.
more sense than the Magic Stone did.
We don't need that. Like, just go pure animated. Just animate the whole movie. I don't understand.
I think that.
At number 27, Eurovision Song Contest, A Story of Ice and Fire. One of Will Ferrell's laziest performances I've ever seen. Yeah, Rachel McAdams is really nice in it, and the last song that they sing is fire. But it was a waste of time. At number 28, so this is the lowest. I don't think I've ever seen a bad documentary, but this was the first. Class Action Park on HBO Max has to be one of the laziest documentaries I've ever seen. It has these terrible animated recreations that at first you think, oh, this is kind of charming and kitschy, but as it keeps going and you realize that all of the recreations are going to be in this really bad animation style, you're like, oh, this is awful. And then the movie has a complete tonal meltdown by the end, which I can get into later. But Class Action Park, trash. Number 29, Disney Plus's Artemis Fowl. Just don't even bother. Don't even bother. I don't even have it. I can't even say enough to review it. I watched it, regret it. My lowest ranked movie. So Andrew, don't feel too bad. But Class Action Park and Artemis Fowl, those were 2 and 2.5 stars. At 1.5 star, I have Hubie Halloween. That movie was bad. It was bad. Adam Sandler said, well, I ran out of voices, so now I do a little bit like that. Now Hubie Halloween, there you go. Your character is just so bottom of the barrel. My favorite TikTok of this year, or one of them, was a clip of Adam Sandler saying something like, "If I don't win an Oscar for Uncut Gems, I'm gonna make the worst movie ever." And then it's this other guy who's holding up Hubie Halloween. He's like, "The son of a bitch actually did it."
Listen, I'm not going to defend Hubie Halloween because it is a bad movie, but like I also am going to ask this question: what do you expect from an Adam Sandler movie? Like, listen, when you go into a movie, when you go into a movie like this, when you go into a movie like this, you know that it's going to be bad.
But I hope that it might not be.
No, it will never not be.
Look, every time I see an Adam Sandler, I know that it's either going to be like there's no middle ground. It's either going to be 50 First Dates, or it's going to be Jack and Jill.
Yeah, but you got to go into it ready for Jack and Jill. You can't hope for 50
I honestly
First Dates.
I was Garrett, and I was even more disappointed. My expectations were at Jack and Jill, and it didn't even meet it. That's how bad it was.
I can't. I haven't seen Jack and Jill. So
you saw more movies than I've seen. So unfortunately, these are my bottom 5. But
I will say this about Hubie Halloween: it's not as bad as 8 Crazy Nights.
I like 8 Crazy Nights, but not like enough to. I wouldn't put it in his top 10.
No, 8 Crazy Nights, like 8 Crazy Nights is just.
That's a technical foul.
But technically a homicide.
Hey, let's go to Garrett's list.
So my list will be real fast because it has remained unchanged other than I swapped 2 movies today from the mid-year review. At my 59, I saw 63 movies, and at 59 is The Gentleman, which was not good.
You saw that before, that was pre-pandemic.
Yeah, that was the first movie I saw of this hellish year.
You and I saw that.
We did. It was not good. A Netflix original movie that's meant for children, but Garrett watched as a wrestling fan. The Main Event.
Oh, yeah.
It was not good, even for a kid's movie.
Yeah.
He gets superpowers and turns into a wrestler, and the guy farts. The end.
But it's got Otis in it. So.
We love a fart.
Yeah, no, didn't. The Turning, which is an alleged horror movie with
Finn Wolfhard, yeah.
Finn Wolfhard is in it. Mackenzie Davis is in it, who had pretty good 2020, I think. She had quite a few good movies. And then the 2 that I swapped, The Last Thing He Wanted. I don't remember where that's at, but don't watch it if you find it.
Who was in that?
Ben Affleck and Anne Hathaway.
That's it.
And a few other people. I think, oh my goodness, Willem Dafoe's in it. It's not good. It's very boring. It's not good. But yeah, I agree with Josh. The worst movie I've seen this year is Desperados.
Desperado.
Okay.
All right.
And those 5 were in the bottom 5 at the mid-year too. Nothing I saw I didn't see anything worse.
Did you do your bottom 5 already, Josh?
Yep, I started.
Yeah. So I think we only had one. Did we only have Desperados and
Hubie
Halloween as carryovers?
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Those automatically in the bottom 5 for the So Many Sequels list.
I suspect we'll have more of the tops. Although I don't know. At the rate we're going, I think Desperados might be Andrew's favorite of the year. Okay. Well, I will start. So I thought of this halfway through. We'll do our top 5, and then maybe we can each do a couple honorable mentions that fell outside of it if we want.
Okay. Definitely.
So my number 5 is a documentary called John Lewis Good Trouble, which is about the late Congressman, civil rights icon John Lewis. It actually had its premiere in Tulsa at Circle Cinema. It was its theatrical premiere, and it's a very good documentary. It's told very well. The timing of it was helped, I think, with the context. I mean, this came out before he died, but not much. It was released on Juneteenth, and then in the midst of this racial reckoning the country's going through. It was very interesting to watch it now at the time, or then at the time that the country was going through. But it's really good. It's touching. It's funny. It's educational. I liked it a lot. Number 4 is Disney Plus's Hamilton.
Okay.
My 2 and 3.
That stayed.
That stayed in the top 5, although it got knocked down from number 1. It was my number 1 for a while.
Your top 5.
Yeah. Hamilton was supposed to be released theatrically, but it was one of the Disney Plus just decided, I guess, to put it out on the 4th of July this year. I don't remember when exactly it was supposed to come out, but I think we got it considerably earlier.
I think probably like October or November, something like that.
I think it was November.
One of
probably around
the
election season.
One of the few movies that went from theaters to streaming that I actually thought was really good. There were a few others, but a lot of them ended up being disappointing in some way. Then after that, this is a Netflix original movie, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, starring the late Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis. It's based on the August Wilson play. Very good. Very, very good. Then number 2 is Soul, Disney Pixar's latest movie, their second of the year, quite a bit better than Onward. One of their best, I think. I still need to watch it again to really take it in. But the first time I was watching, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then my number 1 movie of the year is Promising Young Woman.
Okay, promising.
David, are you taking notes?
A little bit. Or you can,
good.
though, if you already started.
I was not. I was just about to. So if you've
got it. Just for funsies, let's go counterclockwise this time and go to Garrett.
Oh, me!
Surprise!
Oh, my God. I wasn't ready. Okay. So, Josh, you and I have quite a bit of crossover, actually, when it comes to the top. So I won't spend a ton of time because I feel like we'll have quite a bit of crossover for everybody. My number 5 is also Disney Plus's Hamilton. I know that's your 4, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
4? It is my number 5. I don't have anything else to say other than it's wonderful and it makes me happy. The only difference, I think, from here on out is my number 4 is a movie called The Vast of Night. And this one might have a slight asterisk by it because technically it was released in 2019. However, it did not become available for me to watch as a regular human being until 2020, and I count that. I can't go to festivals and see it. So it came out this year on Amazon, and it blew me away. I think this would fit in my surprise category, and it's in my top category. It's a real quick watch. It's only an hour and a half, and it is weird, man. It's right up my alley of weird. It's a sci-fi space thriller. It's presented in the form of a Twilight Zone, but also real. So it starts off, it's in the 1950s. Radio is a big part of it. It starts off watching a TV and they're talking about this very Twilight Zone-y background setup, and then it zooms into a black and white TV, and then you're in it. It's a real cheap movie for $700,000, but it doesn't look it. It is gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful to look at. There is a tracking shot that goes from one end of the town to the other in a continuous looking shot. There are several parts throughout this movie where it is very dialogue heavy, very story focused. And you're so, at least I was so enraptured in the story. And because of this feel of the radio, there are several times throughout this movie where it is brave enough and bold enough to go straight to black. And all you hear is this person telling a story. And it does that several times, and it fits and it works. And I like when movies do that. And this is the first time I've seen something like that. So highly recommend. And that's my number 4. 3, 2, 1, basically the same as Josh. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Soul, and Promising Young Woman.
And Promising Young Woman. So 2 for Promising. All right. Mine will sound not really that similar, but kind of similar. I'm up next, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So at number 5, this is a couple of really recent. Well, basically, the end of the year was the gift to me for great movies. Number 5, I gave this 4 stars. It's King of Staten Island, starring Pete Davidson, Marissa Tomei, Bill Burr, and directed by Judd Apatow. Steve Buscemi's in it too. He's actually really good. So this movie came out earlier in the year, but just now became available on Amazon. So I checked it out. Really good. I think it's a movie that, honestly, even though with the Staten Island logo and the very like Northeast actors that they got for this, you could set it anywhere. Like it could be King of Tulsa, King of Broken Arrow, and it would like all of the story elements would work just the same, just with some minor tweaks. Really good movie, and I really thought the performances were good. Number 4, this lasted for me, which is Tenet. Still really dig Tenet. Got it for Christmas and want to watch it again. It's kind of like the lone, I guess, action movie that you could say that kind of stayed around. At number 3, I Have Soul. Like Josh and Garrett both said, great Pixar movie. I don't know if it's necessarily one of their best, but it is definitely the perfect timing ended up being right now for this movie. I don't think it was hindered by streaming. Obviously, it would have made, I think, more money if they put it in theaters. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and it has a great message. At number 2, so this is a real recent one for me. So this movie came out earlier in the year, but just got around to watching it. It's called The Five Bloods, starring Delroy Lindo, Peter Clark, and it also has Chadwick Boseman, Jonathan Majors. It is fantastic. I mean, it is what it is what Martin Scorsese would call cinema. It is a little long, but every 30 minutes of this movie feels different than the last 30 minutes. Spoiler warning, there is some pretty graphic imagery at times, so just know that going in. But Spike Lee had a lot to say here, and the performance by Delroy Lindo will it'll engage you in something.
I agree.
And then at number 1, I also have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. This was a super great performance-driven movie. It's claustrophobic. It's sweaty. It makes you angry. It makes you laugh. It makes you cry for these characters. And it's one of those movies that all takes place in like a day. You know, I love movies that take place in less than 24 hours. It's such a fun restriction to put on yourself in a lot of those ways. But yeah, so that's my top 5 is King of Staten Island, Tenet, Soul, The Five Bloods, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Okay. Cool.
Andrew, you are next and last.
All right. So number 5 is new on the list because I just saw it yesterday. And it's Garrett and Josh's number 1. It's Promising Young Woman.
Oh, you saw it yesterday. Nice.
I did.
3 for that. What is it on? What is it? Where is that streaming at?
It's not.
It's in theaters right now.
Phooey. I'll have to go try to make time for that.
But I remember walking out of the theater like that was just totally unpredictable, and I loved it. And Carey Mulligan. I would have to say that's probably Carey Mulligan's best performance. I mean, in her career so far. So, anyway, number 4 is Tenet, and Tenet. Obviously, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, but it was just complex enough for me to, you go to a Christopher Nolan movie, you get what you pay for. Christopher Nolan does not disappoint. But no, everything about Tenet, I want to watch it again.
It overcame
So what?
It overcame the sound issues you had with it, yeah?
Yeah. The sound issues were like a speed bump on this long highway of awesomeness. So
I like that description.
Oh,
I think we lost him.
Oh no, he froze.
No. The suspense. He's
He's
there.
coming back.
Maybe.
Tenet fell just outside of mine. I think it's at number 7.
10's not my top 10, y'all.
Wow.
I don't think. Let me double check. Oh, it is 10. I thought it was 11.
Oh, I think he's back.
Hamilton.
Hey!
Oh, my top 5. There he is.
Okay, so I got my list right here. Hang on.
Yeah.
Number 3 is a Tom Hanks movie that was released earlier this year, Greyhound.
Oh.
Okay.
Nice.
I really, really liked Greyhound.
You did.
Yeah.
I did too. It's good.
And Tom Hanks, the fact that Tom Hanks wrote it, even better. You know, you get a Tom Hanks war movie that he wrote. He didn't direct it. Probably should have, but anyway. Number 2 is Hamilton.
Okay. That's 3 for Hamilton.
So
unfortunate.
So and number 1, I saw this movie on Christmas, and I'm going to watch it on Christmas now because I think it's kind of fitting. Soul.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's 4 votes for Soul. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. What did you give Soul? 5 stars?
Soul got
3.
5 stars. 3.5.
3.5.
Let's be fair.
All right.
Do we want to deeper dive into any of them that we haven't? Just for like a real quick. Does anybody have that desire?
If there's one that you'd like, I don't feel like I need to, especially based on the time we're at. But if someone wants to, that's fine.
The only thing I want to say is that, like in doing this list, I forgot about The Five Bloods. The Five Bloods was really just a completely different movie. It's almost on the same level of, in fact, like I'm looking at my top 10 right now. The Five Bloods and Promising Young Woman are right beside each other. Man, that was a tough decision because The Five Bloods is totally unpredictable. Totally unpredictable.
Yeah, it goes so many different places. It's one of those movies where like characters just continually make the worst possible decision they can make. And so you just end up going like, no, don't do that. Oh man, it's so
And yeah, you're right. Like Delroy Lindo's performance in it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah,
so
it was heartbreaking to watch in times.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, that movie, The Five Bloods, that movie is going to be sold to a lot of people, I think, for Chadwick Boseman. But do not be fooled. It is the movie for those other guys. Chadwick's not really in it that much compared to them.
He's really not. Like I think he's in it for like 10 minutes, and it's a long movie too. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. He's maybe in it for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
maybe total.
Yeah, maybe total. But no. But yeah, The Five Bloods and Promising Young Woman, that was a hard one. I like Promising Young Woman a little bit better because I loved how the story twisted. So it had a really, really good twist at the end.
It had like 3 twists.
Yeah.
Josh, what was your number 5 and 4?
John Lewis, Good Trouble, and Hamilton.
Right. Okay. All right. So do you guys want to know what the, I guess, official So Many Sequels top 5 is?
Hit us with it.
Sure.
We can structure this. Maybe we can even this out based on our star ratings for each movie. But Soul is the only movie that was on all of our top 5s.
Okay.
And it was either number, I think it was somewhere between 1 and 3 on all of our top lists. So Soul's number 1, definitely. It's a 3-way tie between Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Hamilton, and Promising Young Woman. And then at number 5, Tenet. Because that one had 2 votes, and that was the other, the runner-ups, Greyhound, The Vast of Night, Good Trouble, John Lewis.
All right.
Or John Lewis, Good Trouble. I didn't remember which.
I think that's a good list.
Yeah. I think that's not too bad. Do you want to talk about some honorable mentions then?
Yeah, one of the honorable mentions I want to talk about because it's another fresh release, and it barely missed my top 10. It's at number 11. Is another Tom Hanks movie called News of the World.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I recommend it, and I really think you would like it, Andrew.
100%.
It's a pretty basic story, but that allows so much room for you to get involved in the characters. And basically Tom Hanks, this is set in like the 1860s or 70s, something like that,
70s, 1870s.
in Texas. And Tom Hanks plays a former Army captain who now rides his wagon from city to city and reads the news to people. Mm-hmm. He's like a news anchor before TV. And he stumbles across this little girl who is Kiowan, and she has been taken from her home twice over now. And Tom Hanks takes it upon himself to deliver her to her family, which is like on the other side of the state or something like that. So the movie is their journey. And so you get to see so much of their characters and how they get along, because she doesn't speak English, he doesn't speak Kiowan, so they have to find other ways to get to know each other. It's very good, very good.
I agree. You know, a lot of times Tom Hanks kind of gets dinged for playing the same character. It's just Tom Hanks in this setting, blah blah blah. I think that this does a good job of making you forget that he's Tom Hanks. This is the first action movie that I can remember him doing since what is it, Captain Phillips, I think. Maybe he's done one since then. I just haven't seen it. But it was just a nice.
Greyhound.
Yeah, I think personally this is a little better than. I think this is better than Greyhound. I don't think it's a little better.
It is better than Greyhound, but that's not a knock.
Yeah, no, and not at all. I like Greyhound. I just like this one more, and it's a Western themed. It just it flowed and it worked. I liked it.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing it. I saw the trailer and I was like, when did this come from?
The one thing that is uniquely Tom Hanks about it is even when they're in incredible danger, Tom Hanks makes me feel safe.
Yep, every time he is the one we need always.
So that's my honorable mention.
I have two.
Okay.
I want to bring up one that I think was our number one for the mid-year, and that's The Invisible Man. Came out way early at the beginning of the year. What a fantastic reimagining of the concept. And still, it's my number 6. It's still one of my favorite movies of the year. It was in my top 2 for a long time. But yeah, love Invisible Man. Anybody want to talk about that one?
It's also my number
Agreed.
6. Fantastic movie. Loved it. Such a good take on it, and it sets up a universe of monster movies that I'm looking forward to. So
yeah,
they have set a really good base work, and I'm excited to see more.
So I could say, do you want me to say one that's in my top 10 or one that an honorable mention that's outside my top 10? Because I could go either way.
Whatever you want to do.
Oh, I don't know. I will say
them both.
Say them both.
My number 8 is The Trial of Chicago 7. I thought this was really, really good. It has good performances. I think that the movie, unfortunately, after doing a lot of research about The Trial of Chicago 7 after I watched it, I kind of feel like they made a mistake by taking one of the main characters and sort of really, like, one of the main people involved in it, they really reduced what his story was, I think, too much. I think he actually had one of the more fascinating stories of that event, and they kind of just shoveled him off and moved on without him after that. So I had a few knocks against it, but man, it's Aaron Sorkin, who we reviewed earlier this year with The American President. It is really solid. I think you will enjoy it. It is a little cheesy at the end. Anybody else see that?
What?
The Trial of Chicago 7?
I did. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was very interesting. It's something that I didn't really know a ton about. So it was, I always enjoy those types of movies where I feel like I'm learning something and being entertained. Boy, you go through a lot of, at least I did. I went through a lot of frustrating emotions, ups and downs and angers. And oh man, it was really good watch.
Definitely. It was, and it's for something that really wasn't that long ago. It's amazing that there's no real education about something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
But I really thought that, there's a member of the Black Panther Party is in it, and played by, I can never remember exactly how to pronounce his name. But it's the character is Bobby Seale. The real person is Bobby Seale, and his story is so much more tragic than the movie really even gets into. And I wish that they had spent some more time on that after finding out all that. The other one I want to mention is it stars Ben Affleck. It's called The Way Back. And this was at first I really kind of just watching the trailers and stuff, I was like, oh, this is like the rated R Mighty Ducks. That's what it seemed like. But it was actually there was a little bit more going on to it, and I really appreciated it. It had one of the most depressing third acts I've ever seen, but it was real. But overall, it's pretty good. It just fell outside my top 10 this year, but I recommend it if you have a spare time.
I really wanted to see that.
Andrew,
I believe you can on HBO.
Mentions?
Yeah, it's available right now.
It's on HBO.
And it's a pretty brisk watch, if I remember right.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other honorable mentions?
I want you guys mentioned The Invisible Man. That took me by surprise. Birds of Prey.
Feels like years ago, doesn't it?
The solid effort out of DC this year was.
It almost
Birds of
is.
Prey. So, yeah. I mean, I personally think that was way better than Wonder Woman 84, but that's just me.
That's me too.
Emma.
Emma.
The movie Emma. Yeah. So adapted from the Jane Austen novel. Jane Austen, not Austen. The Jane Austen novel. It's a remake. It's not a remake. It's just an adaptation. But no, it's really good.
Yeah.
The performances are very solid. And last but not least, The Lovebirds. That is in my runner-up, and I really like The Lovebirds.
I laughed so hard at The Lovebirds.
Very funny.
I was half asleep
for sure.
while my wife watched The Lovebirds, and I thought while sleeping that it was a drama. And when I woke up for the end of it, and I was so utterly confused. And I maintain that as far as the lead actors, for them it's a comedy, but for everybody else treats it like a drama, which usually is a sign of a good comedy. But I was so confused when I woke up. I was like, I thought this was like a serious. What's going on? Why is it so funny all of a sudden?
I have two quick that I won't get too deep into. Happiest Season is a Christmas movie that came out. I believe it's on Hulu. It is a very good family comedy with twists abound. Every time that I felt like I knew where this movie was going to go, when you follow certain Christmas tropes and family drama and oh my goodness, and every time it took a little different twist that I didn't expect, and it just kept me on my toes. It's got a great cast of Kristen Stewart, Mackenzie Davis, Allison Brie, Aubrey Plaza, Mary Steenburgen, oh my God, Dave Levy, so many people. It's a very good movie. It'll make you laugh. It'll tug at your heartstrings. It's a very good family holiday comedy, I think. And then The Rental is a horror movie that I really enjoyed. It was serial killer. These people go on a vacation and chaos happens. I feel like there's a lot of drama internally, along with the external craziness that's going on. So it also was a movie that kind of kept me on my toes. Didn't know exactly where it was going to go, that I had a lot of fun watching.
What was the name of that zombie movie you watched? And the guy's like hanging off the side of a parking garage.
And there's also another good movie called Alive. It's on Netflix. It is a Korean zombie movie, and it does a really fantastic job of modernizing the zombie movie. Zombie movies are tough because zombies inherently they can be scary or they cannot be scary. And I think the key to a good zombie movie is a slow build of tension and then bam, let it release. And it does that a lot throughout, and each one builds. So you have this slow build up and then a nice release, and then it gets a little bigger, and then you have a bigger release, and each time builds. And so that's a good horror movie for me.
That's cool. All right.
And that's what I got.
Cool.
Well, there's our highs and lows.
Yeah. So we will now briefly go through our most anticipated movies of 2020. I will read through the ones that did not come out. Because the ones that did, we have
already talked about
pretty much all covered, except for a couple, but that's not a big deal. But I do want to note that this just made me laugh. I think Andrew's hated Wonder Woman so much because it was his second most anticipated movie of the year, and it let him down so deeply.
Oh, that might be true. I remember Andrew was the one who brought it up.
That was his second most anticipated. So I'll start at the bottom of the list and work to most anticipated. So David, yours was The Eternals.
Yep.
Which was supposed to come out in November and is now set for November 5th, 2021. So a whole nother year. Andrew, you picked Black Widow, which was supposed to come out, like in May, was it?
Yep.
Yeah. And now it's May 7th, 2021.
Yeah, when that movie was going to come out, my wife and I would have still not have a baby. Now we're gonna have a baby when that movie comes out.
Yeah.
We were already ready to go see that movie. That was right at the pandemic happening.
The next anticipated movie that did not come out is another one of Andrew's, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oof.
It was supposed to come out in July and is now set for June 11th, 2021. Then we've got one of my picks is a Matt Damon movie called Stillwater.
Yeah.
That was supposed to come out in November. However, it has been pulled from the schedule completely and does not have a release date.
Yeah, I don't even know if they ever got the production started.
Then we've got another David pick, Death on the Nile.
That one
almost came out. It was supposed to come out just like a couple months ago, right?
Like November, I think.
Yeah, and now it's set for September 17th, 2021.
Such a long wait.
Then another Andrew pick. You guys lost out on a lot of your movies. Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be out.
We were so anticipated.
First, I think it was supposed to come out on June 26th, and then it was moved to Christmas, and then it was moved to July 2nd, 2021.
That's right.
So maybe someday Andrew will get to watch Top Gun Maverick. And then we got another David pick. The Bob's Burgers movie.
Yeah.
Which I think everyone forgot about.
I did.
It was supposed to come out in July, and now it has been rescheduled for April 9th, 2021.
That's not too far away.
And I'll also say, to my knowledge, all of these are still set at this point to come out in theaters on some capacity. Bob's Burgers that's Disney owns that now, right?
Probably now. I don't
know. So there's a chance that could go to Disney Plus or Hulu, but it's still they haven't gone into that yet.
No.
Next is one of mine, which is a adaptation of the musical In the Heights.
In the Heights.
In the Heights. It was supposed to come out this summer, and it is now going to come out June 18th, 2021. That is a Warner Brothers movie, so as of now, it will come out both theatrically and on HBO Max on the same day. I'm looking forward to that one. Then we finally have a pick from Garrett. Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
The sequel to the Halloween reboot that came out in 2019? No, 2018.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out this year, and it has now been rescheduled for October 2021, with Halloween Ends following it in October 2022.
What a big delay for that franchise.
And that was your most anticipated movie of the year.
Yeah.
Andrew's most anticipated movie of the year, No Time to Die. The Bond movie that was supposed to kick off our season. We were going to do the Daniel Craig Bond movies. We ended up doing none of them because it was pulled from the schedule multiple times.
Pushed.
No Time to Die. I'm double checking the release date right now. It is now currently set for April 2nd, 2021. It's going to be interesting.
If I remember correctly. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say MGM, who produces the movie, just put themselves up for sale. So that's going to be interesting. Yep.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, that was the first major film to push its release date.
It was the first one.
We all thought they were silly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Bond is all that MGM has, so no wonder they're selling.
That's so weird because the reason why Skyfall why Skyfall was so delayed, because MGM was in bankruptcy issues. And when Skyfall was released, that actually saved MGM from bankruptcy.
Wow. Crazy.
So
That's nuts.
it is nuts. And our last one is. Oh wait, what?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Our last one is another Garrett pick, and our last one, A Quiet Place 2, which almost came out. It was supposed to come out March 20th. They had their premiere, and it was pulled like a week or two before, I think.
And the reviews were so good.
Yeah, people were hyped on it. People still are. And it is now set to be released sometime in April 2021. April 23rd.
I want to read a couple of quotes from our preview of 2020 and our mid-year review. And
you went back and pulled quotes?
I did. Well, two quotes that stood out to me, and going through this list makes me curious as to where people fall. So beginning of 2020, January, I said, quote, I would say 2019 slapped for movies. 2020 has a few, but it was tough to come up with a list. I had to adjust my definition of anticipation. Mm-hmm. In the mid-year review, Josh said, quote, if y'all remember our 2020 preview, this year was stacked high with great movies. So what do you guys think? Because going through the list of anticipated movies, I go back to thinking, okay, I'm looking forward to some of these movies, but the excitement level that I had was still.
I still think the year was originally stacked with good movies.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't read the ones that did come out because they're
right, but I argue the ones that
about.
did come out either were disappointing or maybe like not as good as we thought. Some of them are like the big ones that we really expected, like the ones I would say that we said in our top 5. But I mean, Birds of Prey was pretty good, but I wouldn't say it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones that we talked about were just, okay. And I think that's fine. I just remember, at the beginning of the year, I remember thinking this didn't look like it was going to be as good as 2019. And then unfortunate things happened to make that true.
Yeah, it looked like, I do think that like looking back at it, this year wasn't necessarily going to, like, it wasn't like didn't feel as big, you're right, as what 2019 had just been. But I was really excited for the movies that I had on my list.
I agree.
I'm really, like, I was glad that, because like Soul was on our list, Tenet, Birds of Prey. I was really excited that those movies did manage to come out. And I always say whenever we do those most anticipated is, it's so funny because I know that at the end of the year, I think I said in that episode, what is it? At the end of the year, it's going to be movies that I didn't hear of that are going to be in my top 5. And that's the case. I hadn't heard of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom at the beginning of 2020, but sure enough, that's the movie that came out of nowhere. That was my what was it? That was my Ford versus Ferrari of that year, where I had no idea that movie was even going to be made. And then it comes out of nowhere. But yeah, 2021, it's going to be interesting because you're going to add a lot of these movies to movies that we probably would have already been excited for. So 2021 is going to be a really interestingly stacked year.
Well, I think 2021 is going to be a lot of these movies, and that's great. We'll get to see them.
I know that we're done talking about like our shout outs, like our honorable mentions. There's one more I want to mention, and I think it has a lot to do with social climate, especially in November. It's Borat. Borat's.
Oh, right, yeah.
My wife.
Yeah.
I know.
And the reason why is that I want to give a special shout out to that movie because it was filmed, it was edited and released all this year, and it was a sequel to a very popular film, and it just so happened to be like star some very key political players like of this year, and and it also tackled the issue of the coronavirus and whatnot, and it kind of lampooned a little bit of like what differentiating opinions there are. And I failed to mention this earlier about how funny that movie is and how fresh that movie is and how timely that movie is. And Sacha Baron Cohen is a genius.
Yeah, he had 2 really good movies this year. Then I would say, at least.
But I just wanted to say that.
All right, my name is Bo Rat. Cool. I think that wraps up the show. Wow, what a year it has been.
Been a wild one.
Let me mention two more things here real quick. So, Andrew mentioned, the highest grossing movie for 2020 in the United States was Bad Boys for Life. Worldwide, though, and this is a kind of a sign of what the pandemic did. I believe this is true. I'll need to do more research, but I believe for the first time ever, the highest grossing movie at the worldwide box office is a foreign film. It's called The 800. It's a Chinese film. It did $461 million worldwide, which is about around $40 million more than Bad Boys for Life did. Tenet finished in the number 3 spot worldwide. Sonic the Hedgehog at number 4, and then Doolittle at number 5. Most of those are all pre-pandemic releases, except for The 800, which I believe came out. Let me double check in August. So, it's been a crazy year, and so that's just one more element of it. The highest grossing movie of the year is a foreign film.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks for listening and watching with us this year as we kind of stumbled through how to do this show, both remotely and for a long time without any real movies to watch. It happened.
We persist.
I hope we don't have to do it like this, quite like this again anytime soon. But thanks for listening and watching anyway. Find us online on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So Many Sequels. Follow or subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we will continue to post videos just like this one. And then subscribe in your favorite podcasting app: Spotify, Apple Podcast, SoundsTooth. I didn't forget about SoundsTooth. We love those guys.
Always and forever.
Now you're laughing like I don't mean it. I mean it.
You said it like, we love those guys.
I was stifling a yawn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that. We'll be back next year. We're going to take some, and I don't mean that in the like, we'll be back Monday when it's next year. No, we're going to be off for a while.
We usually give ourselves January.
Yeah, we're going to take at least January, maybe a little bit more, just to see how things go. Because if there's one thing we know now, it's that
sometimes less is more.
Next year's not going to be any more normal than this one was. So we're gonna work on some things and figure out how to make the most fun show possible. And
if you are just missing us for January, and you should, you would, you can check Josh and me on our Wayback Flashback podcast exclusively on Spotify. Right. We play big hits, guilty pleasures, and forgotten favorites of years gone by. David and Andrew, who knows, maybe they could make a special appearance. They were live during those times. Andrew can talk about our oldies show for sure, what he grew up listening to in the early days of radio. We had a special theme on that. So, we're still out there doing things, and we'll be back with this. But in the meantime, you can catch some fun little music.
That's right. And hey, if you want to see our full list, check us all out on Letterboxd. Just go to Letterboxd. You can search for our names: David Prock, Josh Gammon, Garrett Powders. And I think Andrew doesn't have his last name on there, so you just have to get lucky that he's the right Andrew. Okay. If you see a review for Bridge of the River Kwai, you got it.
I'll fix that.
You do whatever you want. It's your letterbox. All right. That's it. We're signing off. For the last time in 2020, this horrible year can be gone now.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.